下面有请亚洲开发银行教育部门主管 Sungsup. Let's welcome the chair of the Education Sector Group at the Asian Development Bank, Sungsup.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sungsup from Asian Development Bank. Many of you don't know about Asian Development Bank. Asian Development Bank is working for Asia Pacific. We are a development institute, and also we are a bank. Somewhat very different from. We are therefore different from the UN agency. Today, I'd like to talk about. Today, I'd like to talk about bridging education divide with ICT, particularly in Asia Pacific country. Here, I like to, in fact, imagine, which country in the world emerged from the poor to rich country over last decade, or over last 5 decades after World War II. Very few countries. In my understanding, only Singapore, Korea, and then also maybe Israel, only few countries. Maybe China would be next one. But what are the secrets of those countries? How come they emerge from poor to rich country? What are the secrets? Here I like to study with you. In the case of here, Korea, left-hand side is showing the riverside of the Hans River. Right-hand side is showing current Korea Hans River. It's completely different. Now next one, I will show Singapore. Singapore start from in the very poor fishing village in 1960, very, very poor. Now, Singapore is completely different. What are the secrets of these two countries so that they can emerge from poor to rich country? Here's my answer to you. One, first, they invest in education. Second, they invest in ICT. Those countries, if you look at it, they invested heavily in the education from the 1960s all the way to 2020. 2000 until now. But they also invest in ICT, 1980 until 1990. That made this country very different. Just look at other countries. Many countries, they didn't do that. But now come to China. You are the perhaps next one because you are investing in education. You are also investing in ICT. Now, I like to go back where we are in terms of the education attainment in Asia. In fact, in Asia, there are lots of improvement in terms of the physical access to school. Now we have a school, and then you have now classroom. You have also sometimes teachers. If you look at it here, Asia Pacific, their performance in terms of the average, the years to go school is almost equivalent to OECD country. But even if, despite this kind of the improvement, you will see, this is the Cambodian example. Many students from poor the household, there the dropout rate is very high. Many of them, in the Cambodia case, about 40% of students only remain and then be able to complete the grade 6. But if you look at it, the blue one, the richest quintile people, they, about 60% they remain there. That's a big difference between richest family and also poorest family. Now, in Asia Pacific, now we have big progress in terms of the access. However, we are now the big problem in terms of learning. Many students go to school, but not necessarily they are learning. Going to school is different from your learning. So here we have some the diagram come from the PISA test from OECD, like Singapore, Korea, and China, particularly Beijing, Shanghai area, doing very well, top in the world. But if you look at India, Tamil Nadu, and Himachal, they are even below the 350 point, meaning many students go in school, but they don't learn. Now we can see a little bit more on this one. See this one, the blue one showing the richest quintile, and then also the red one is showing the performance of students from the poor family, social and economically disadvantaged group. But if you look at here, Vietnam, by the way, Vietnam is one of the best countries in Asia, doing very well in education. But the gap between poor and also rich is very high, about 100 points. So my question is, how can we address this? Now, we have some opportunity. Opportunity meaning now ICT and also internet access improved very much. And then many of the even poor, kids in the poor country, they have also smartphone. That would be our perhaps future. Look at it like China, maybe Singapore, Korea, over 100% penetration in terms of internet. Even Bangladesh, internet penetration is about 30-20%. However, smartphone, most of them, they access to smartphone. Now, but despite this kind of the opportunity, if you look at two now classroom, the left one is Korea, another one is that from India. The Korea, they are learning the coding at the grade 2 and grade 3, elementary school grade 2 and 3. And then their classroom is already a smart classroom. But you get India. India, this one is in fact a good quality classroom, but it's just memory-based learning. There's no interaction in a classroom setting. That's the problem to address the quality issue. Now, I like to now talk ICT. Strategic use of ICT offers opportunity to us to address this challenge. With ICT, perhaps, we can address tension between quality and equity, and also improve the efficiency of education. In fact, to improve quality, we have to sacrifice something else, because improving quality is much more difficult than improving access. Now, here, I would say there are three remaining challenges in Asia Pacific. First, improving quality of learning for all, no one left behind. Second, how to address the hard-to-reach group. So someone in the remote village, someone in the socially or ethnically excluded group, how can you reach them? Also, third one is education governance and administration and the management, how can we improve? Now here, with the ADB example, ADB we have some project. I will give the very specific example how ADB address this. But some of them is a success story, some of them is a failure story. Please also guess which one is a failure story. ADB, typically in ICT intervention, we have three components. First, we have quality intervention. For example, we use e-learning, computer-aided learning kind of thing. And then also we provide the learning, the content. Also, we also provide, we have some intervention to hard to reach. That one we can do it by online learning because the internet helps. And then also another one, we also invest heavily on the education management information system and also the web-based platform kind of thing. Now, here is an example in the Bhutan and Sri Lanka. In fact, the ADB 2014 in Sri Lanka, 2016 in Bhutan. In fact, we deploy highly adaptive e-learning mathematics program. Then, in fact, first, when we deploy this one, the principal like it, teachers also like it, parents group like it, even students like it. The question is, really it improved the student performance or not? Yes, indeed. In the case of the Sri Lanka, we selected about 20 schools and have about 1,500 students. We divided that one into two, so about 800 for control group, another 700 for treatment group. We compare them, their performance. And then also we did it in Bhutan 2016. We selected about 18 schools and also about 1,500 students also selected. We divided this one into two groups, treatment and control group. Treatment meaning we in fact use the e-learning program. Control group means we don't use it. We just stay with it as a business as usual. After that, we found within 3 months and 5 and 8 months, already statistically significant results we got it. What is the meaning here? The e-learning, that deploying e-learning in the classroom setting, number one, the stimulate interest of the student and also teacher and some principal and parents. At the same time, that will raise their student performance. This is very important message I'm talking. Now, in the Sri Lanka, we had also one program, the reaching hard to reach, because Sri Lanka, some university located in the even Colombo area, it's very difficult to reach the rural area. So what we did it, we established about 20 nodal the computer center in the remote area. And also we supported it, open university there. So that, number one, address the school level. Second, the many students from the rural area, they couldn't complete. And then many the secondary school level there. And then also some of them, they cannot go to university. So we try to target them. We did it well. We did something. This is example from Bangladesh. In fact, the Bangladesh, if you look at this diagram here in the middle, Dhaka is their capital city. There are very famous universities like Tsinghua or Beijing called Dhaka University of the Engineering Technology. That university located there. Around that university also, there are across of the university offering computer science and IT program. Many schools, they want to, in fact, get access to the curriculum of the BOET, the Dhaka University Engineering Technology, and then also their courseware, and then also they want to get also their learning material. So in fact, we that time established the open platform so that they can share, and then some arrangement we did it, they can learn each other. Now, what are the conclusion? What are the lessons we learned from our project, our experience? First, I found when I work on the ICT project, many, even policymaker, even teacher, even the educational administrator, they focus too much on, not on content, not on people, not on communication, not on business process. They focus on computer and then building the laboratory. Results, often, there are a stack of the computer in the laboratory, nobody using, and with dust. That kind of problem we see. So what is very important lesson to us is that people is the most important, and then provider of the content is very important. Also, another thing, also very important thing is that many developing countries think they can develop content by themselves, or the public sector, government, they can provide it. But once that they provide it, when new minister come, they won't have another vendor, another provider. So therefore, no continuity. So I would say it's very, very important to promote private sector content provider like the TAL or like other company in China. Maybe also in US you have it. Many other the online company like Udemy, Coursera, like this. It's very important to partner with them. Now another one is that demand is just as important supply. Often we are supply driven. In the government, they just put this something and then deploy and then put it in the computer in the classroom setting. That will help. Can we solve the problem? No. Demands is very important. You have to look at what student wanted. In fact, I also refer give the example of the Sri Lankan project. In the case of Sri Lankan project, in fact, that project didn't go well. Initially, we tried to educate, train about 20,000 students through that program, but we only can able to train about 11,000 students. Main reason because students, they didn't come. Because the remote village, they didn't know about online learning, the distance learning. Number two, there's some stigma related to distance learning, so they didn't come. So in fact, the ADB, what we didn't do well is that we didn't have the more awareness or even boost this one, approach them, and then there's online learning, and then also distance learning available. Kind of awareness program we didn't do properly. Now, some of you will ask a question, oh my God, ICT education may be only feasible when you have a very good internet and also a very good computer laboratory, and also children has their own laptop. Here I would say not necessarily true. There are many different ways to do it. In China, I think yesterday I saw the example from TAL. I think wonderful example I see this so-called double teacher program in China. For example, some university, and then they twin very good the urban university, urban school, urban high school with the high school in rural area. Then they can watch the video for example, Beijing school teacher. That can help them. And then rural teacher can also learn from also the urban teacher. And then also the rural teacher can be also facilitator of class. This will be inexpensive. Also, you don't need any high tech here. You don't need also a very high speed internet for this. This is, I would say, very, very good example in China. Now, another one is that, do you need the internet for the ICT in education? Yes, indeed, if you have it, but not necessarily true. I have an example from Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, you know, like your Beidai and then also the Tsinghua University, they have a Dhaka University. It's a top university. Very, very difficult to get in. Competition rate is very high. And then to go Dhaka University, you have to go the private coaching, the coaching school. I think you all do similar thing in here, and then or individual tutoring. And then that costs about $400. For the Bangladesh, paying $400 for doing coaching school for 3 months, that's very expensive. So what we have done is that we distribute DVD to the student. And then we have some laboratory, and they can come and study. The trick is in Bangladesh is that you have to solve 2 questions per 1 minute. So 120 questions, you have to solve it within 60 minutes. So even if you are so good, if you cannot solve the problem very quickly, you will lose. So therefore, this DVD will help them, they can solve the problem very quickly. I'll end here. Thank you very much.
感谢 Mr. Sungsup 的精彩分享。Thanks for your insightful sharing, Mr. Sungsup.